Hope that worked. All right. Week 1 in the books, everybody. It's going to get better, right? Yo. Show 221. Welcome in the original live, unfiltered, unedited, uncensored, commercial-free Sharks podcast, wrapping up the week of Sharks hockey, part of Teal Town, USA. Do that like and subscribe thing. Leave your takes in the comment section if you were not with us live. Oh, my gosh. So, Ian, Celebrini is on IR, so we're just going to write off the season. Yep.
Yeah, I'm done.
Cool.
Good to see you guys. Nice seeing you. It was a good season, but I'm over. I'm out.
Yeah, we'll see you after the summer. So, I was so positive last week. I was just like, I feel good. Like, St. Louis and Anaheim, I think these guys can go 2-0. I think you can pick up 4 points. And instead they said, how about 1? And I was like, well, fuck me. Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right. So, look, I mean, Celebrini, the fact that he was clearly playing through something and still had a goal and an assist.
Yeah, I mean, that game was a lot of fun. There's some stuff at the end that really kind of annoyed me, though. Like, I understood, and I tweeted this out, like, I don't hope you don't mind. I'm going to jump to the end of the game here, because I think that's where it's kind of, that's where Toffoli got an assist. I mean, the setup to Toffoli's goal was sick. And all the vibes are good. And at Will Smith and Macklin Celebrini kind of getting crushed in the dot. Game's on the line. It's time to send an NHL line out there to kind of take care of business.
Mm-hmm.
Little did I know at the time, Will Smith's never playing again. And, Gushkin takes a penalty. He can't play anymore. Celebrini would get back out in overtime, but he's not playing for the rest of you know what I mean? It's like everything was going so well because you brought young guys in and yeah, Gushkin takes a really dumb penalty, which doesn't help anything, but the overreaction to it. And then now it's like, okay, we're just going to roll. We rolled last year because last year was awesome.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the thing that really gets me. Is I'm seeing quotes post game that I'm like, we heard this shit. The boys we need to learn how to win. I'm like, I heard that 82 times last year.
Yeah.
Really, we're still there with that, but all right. Either way, just San Jose versus St. Louis. The fact that when all was said and done, there was 9 goals. I was like, holy shit, I hope you guys took the over on that. That was a little shocking to me. Blackwood getting the start and getting a 3-1 lead. And I was just kind of like, okay, are we back to that Sharks team that it was just kind of or just the NHL in general, where it's first to 3, 80% of the time, it seems like you're going to walk away with the 2 points. And then what happened?
Well, then we had to go back to doing last year's stuff.
Yeah.
And I understood, and it's funny because I even said, putting the Lund line out, this makes sense, the game's on the line. It's an important face-off. Probably want to put someone in the face-off dot who's actually, won an NHL draw at this point, because at this point, I don't think Celebrini or Smith had won any draws that game. So, you change it up a little bit. But again, I think the overreaction to, and those guys will never step on the ice again. What are we doing?
Celebrini,
and I know Celebrini did start the overtime, and again, he lost the draw, and then they never had the puck. And I think that's you can get on Mackenzie Blackwood, because I don't think those last 2 goals were very good.
Yeah.
That kind of sealed the game against the Sharks, but I
don't think the defense helped him much.
Well, but that's the problem, right? But at the same time, the Sharks didn't have the puck for the last, I don't know, they didn't have the puck at all in overtime, and they sure as fuck didn't have the puck for the last minutes of the third period of that game. And then, of course, pucks go in the net. That's what happens when you don't have the puck.
Yeah, I've been told it's hard to score when you don't have the puck.
Yeah.
Yet to be confirmed. Many people are saying, though. It's well, and you mentioned it a second ago. I mean, it's like Celebrini, the whole all the pomp and circumstance, all the buildup. Celebrini comes up there, takes the first faceoff, wins it. I don't think he won one the rest of the game, but at least he got the first one.
Yeah, and look, and that's fine. And look at, I don't. That's fine. Like that's how you learn. You're gonna have to go in there, and you're gonna
Got to learn how to
that,
win, baby.
We've got to learn how to win. But I mean, taking faceoffs against NHL players is a little bit different than taking faceoffs against college players, right? Like
Yeah.
there's going to be an adjustment there, and I think that, we said this last week.
Boys
like there's going to
versus
have
men.
to be some patience here, right?
Yeah.
Like this isn't okay. Celebrini's here. This is a winning team now.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know about you guys. If you look at like all the betting sites or whatever, like despite all the influx of guys, whether it's Celebrini or Smith or Askorov, or I mean, hell, if you want to elevate Dickinson at this point, I mean, Chief did have a hat trick for his club this week, but he's not with the Sharks.
Yeah.
But there's a decent pipeline. But the fact of the matter is, the Sharks are still projected to finish 32 out of 32. So just like you gotta kind of temper your expectations at this point. Are they going to play better? Are they going to make less mistakes? Is the defense overall, the forward's going to play more defensively sound. Let's
Right.
see where we're at. Steve,
I mean, they better. They have two fourth lines.
Hello, right? Steve saying, what's the level of concern for length of Celebrini's injury? Really hoping it's close to a week versus a month. Hard to tell based off the quote so far. I mean, the fact that a couple, like a writer or two, were going, well, he can be back for Winnipeg, and then other people were pointing out they didn't say day to day, my bud. They said week to week. So, look, they're not projected to even make the playoffs. I say, you do not ride any of these guys into the ground. If I'm part of the Sharks coaching staff, Celebrini doesn't even go on this fucking road trip.
Yeah, I mean, I again, I don't know what the extent of the injury is, but when it comes to this team, I said this yesterday, I have I just don't believe anything they say when it comes to injuries.
Yeah, but it's
because
only
this
3
team blows
games.
so much smoke. This team blows so much smoke out her ass about injuries. Like it's always been their way.
Well,
Like,
I think that's every team
when,
in the NHL, to be honest.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know. Maybe that's true, and maybe it's just because the Sharks are the team that I follow. It annoys me more. But like,
Sure.
I mean, remember when Joe Thornton got injured in the Edmonton series? And it was like, oh, but he's still skating. He might play.
Oh,
and it
my God.
Remember?
Yeah, he's still skating. He's still skating.
He might play. Logan Couture is going to start skating anytime. That's what I heard 4 months ago.
Yep.
He's going to start skating.
July.
anytime.
It was July, if I remember correctly.
Start skating July. Oh, he might start skating August. Captain's ice. He might skate. He might start skating around training camp. I don't know when Logan Couture is going to start skating again. Like, when it comes to this team, I don't trust anything they fucking say.
I'm with you on that because there was an event earlier in the week on Tuesday where it was Meet the Sharks. It's like, come out, and let's be honest, they call it Meet the Sharks. It should literally be called Get That One Thing You Want Signed Autographed. That's pretty much kind of a thing. But when I was in the line and saw Logan there, I straight up asked him, like, how you feeling, bro? Is it close? And he just looked at me and he goes, nah, it's not close. And I was just, fuck.
Yeah, that sucks, right? Like, again, Logan Couture is not my favorite Sharks player by any stretch, but like, I don't want this to be the way this ends for him either.
I'm right there with you. Like, it would suck ass. To finish up St. Louis and San Jose, I mean, the one thing I think we can kind of look at as at least a positive, power play going 1 for 2 and penalty kill going 2 for 2. So it's like the special teams are on the right side of the numbers for a rare time. They got outshot by 11, but it was a lot like last season in that regard. But it just felt like so many times last season, it was just like no matter what stat you looked up, what metric, what number, the Sharks were on the losing stick. So to see them open up with special teams at least being a positive coming out of it, I'm like, okay, at least there's one. It's like
Yeah.
going back to Logan Couture during the Game 7 comeback. Oh, I'm sorry. Did somebody say Game 7? But it's that whole thing. It's like, that's one. So
Right.
there's one thing to grab onto. The one thing I also have to talk about, Goody having the shorty, which I was just like, oh, fuck. As soon as he had that shorthanded goal, and I'm like, oh, here comes all the wank. Oh, it's going to be, it's going to be nothing but wank in the post game for that. But the fact that it was like they allowed 3 goals and 3 in the third, I'm like, deja vu all over again. Can't close out a team in regulation. You lose 45 seconds into overtime. But watching Celebrini on the national stage with all that spotlight on him, getting that first goal, but just watching his vision, I was like, fuck, this kid, that's some Jumbo-esque vision right there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that pass, like, okay, you could say, okay, well, that pass goes off a skate and then goes into the net. And, it's like,
Hey,
that
they
was his
don't
first
ask
goal.
how, they just ask how many.
But not even that. But, like, if that skate doesn't get in the way, that gets to Eklund's probably burying that shot. Like, it was such a good play, regardless of, who actually ended up scoring the goal. Like, if that puck gets to Eklund, that's a goal.
Oh, dude, without a doubt. Sharks.
And then he showed it again with that pass to Toffoli.
Yes. Oh, dude, it was so sick. And Wallman, I don't know, is going to get enough credit for hitting Eklund with that first pass coming out of there.
Yeah, Jake Wallman has been like, if you're looking for bright spots, obviously I think like Celebrini, even though he's playing with a banged up hip apparently, but like Jake Wallman in these 2 games has been like a nice breath of fresh air, considering our blue line's been so putrid,
dude,
over the last couple of years. Like seeing a guy who can like competently do stuff on the blue line, it's a nice thing to see.
You're right. Sharks last talking about, it was sure nice having a fuller house for the first 2 games of the season. Opening night, wonderfully loud and energetic. Missed that. Yeah, it's funny because when I was watching the game, I'm like, Jesus, the Sharks literally tweeted out a graphic that was like SAP Center with sold out along the front. And, on one hand, I was like, yeah, well, I don't care that it's Thursday night. I don't care that the Niners are playing. I don't.
That had to hurt them though.
Oh, it absolutely did. But it was clearly like, okay, they sold their tickets and everything like that. Don't know that they were all used because I did see a decent amount of empty seats. But the people who were there clearly more energized and more vocal. But I did think it was kind of cringe a little bit, where they're, the Sharks are promoting, hey, we sold out a game. I'm like, I don't see other teams doing that same thing. Like, it was, you know what I mean? Like, just enjoy Celebrini. I don't know that you need to beat the drum that hard. And then the funny thing is that a bunch of sources reported it was sold out, but there were actually a couple that said nearly sold out. And I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm not diving down this hole. But it is nice to see over the course of the last couple of days, like since Wednesday, I'm seeing media outlets do it, tweeting about the team that hasn't mentioned this team since 2016.
Sure.
And
that's
I'm
the
like,
important thing, right?
Yeah, but there's let's be honest, a little part of me that says, hey, if you can't handle me at 2021, then you don't get to blow me in 2024. But
yeah, that's
whatever. Anyway, move on to the Anaheim game, and dude, I got to tell you right now, like I think you, myself, the Jerkman, Puck Guy, all of us here, were not huge fans of small sample size being the end all be all, but I got to tell you, Vanacek got me feeling a certain way, bro.
Yeah, Vanny had a good night last night against the Ducks, and it's, again, I think it's one of those things where the Ducks are also kind of a crap team. I don't think the Ducks are going to be very good this year. I want to see Vanacek do good things against teams that are going to be a little bit tougher.
Well, also a team
so
that
far,
has issues in the net.
Yeah, but I mean, but look at, like, for him to come back and have that game, I think it was important for his confidence, obviously, to get in there and have a game like that. And I think you look at last year, and like goaltending wasn't an issue, and I give a lot of credit to the guys that they brought in, the Spears, fuck, what's his name?
Oh, Dawson.
No. I mean the Sharks, the goaltending staff for the Sharks. Ryan Miller,
Okay.
guys that have come in and they've done good things, I think, with some of these Sharks goaltenders that have come in, that have had a rough go of late. Again, like I think Mackenzie Blackwood had a pretty decent game. I didn't like the last two goals, but I don't fault him for losing that game, because again, like, if you're not gonna have the puck at any point in the end of the game, then bad things are gonna happen. Spoiler alert for another game we'll talk about soon.
Yeah.
Um, you know what I mean? So it's like, and so to have Vitek Vancek come in and have a good game like that, and it just gives me hopes that that what the Sharks have done in their goaltending department has started to really show dividends, and hopefully it continues.
I mean, if you look at the numbers on paper, it's like, okay, a team won 2-0. Shots on goal were the same for both teams.
Mhm.
No power play goals were scored. And,
True.
And one of the goals was an empty netter. You look at this and you're like, oh, okay, this was a goalie battle. And it largely was.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when was Anaheim's goal scored? With like 4 minutes left in the third?
Sadly, yes.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, and then there was an empty netter.
Yeah. The other ones, it was Zegras, I believe, had the fucking empty netter. So, and then, I mean, and let's be honest, I mean, two and a half into this game, Zetterlund is this fucking close from an offside to opening it up on the power play, by the way, going back to the whole thing of the special teams looking better.
Mhm.
You just go, oh. But then Lundestrom gets behind the Sharks. That defense, everybody, that was that one brain fart. That was enough.
Yeah.
And Vanacek, I'm quite sure wants that one back. I mean,
100%.
show me the goalie who doesn't want a bad goal back. But the one thing I thought was a little telling and kind of like, really, we're going there this early into the season, but Remenda talking on the broadcast saying that the Sharks bench got warned about crying for penalties.
Yeah.
What the fuck is that about, dude? I didn't see anything egregious. Did you?
No. But I if you do that, I think that's a problem, though. If you do get a reputation for
being whiners,
or, I mean, how many? Remember when Vancouver, like, everyone, like, well, oh, they're a bunch of divers, and they would get a bunch of they'd get a bunch of penalties not called because they had the reputation for diving. I mean, that
and
happens,
finger
right?
biting.
Yes, and finger biting too. Like, I just think if your team gets a reputation for something, then that generally ends badly. And it's something that I would notice, but it's something I think you'd have to be kind of on the bench or at least at ice level to kind of notice.
Mm-hmm.
But so it's not something. It was kind of surprised me, because I was surprised that this is something that the Sharks are getting a reputation for.
Yeah,
I mean, they definitely the broadcast cries for penalties more than
right?
They probably should. But
well, now to be fair, Hedekin's not here anymore. So.
Well, that's true. But I didn't realize that it translated to the on ice people as well.
Yeah, that was a little much. I'm like, Jesus Christ! If Remenda's bringing this up, like, okay, boys, dial it down a scotch.
Sure.
But speaking of Remenda and what, his spot right there on, basically on the bench. I mean, dude, that Vatrano cross-checking Kostin and Kostin just dropping him like a sack of fucking spuds. I mean, do not fuck with Klim Shady, baby.
Yeah, no. I mean, that was fun, right? And I think,
dude, that was awesome.
It was
fun. The singular highlight of like a not so great night.
For sure. It's something like, I'm glad like we saw it. I mean, it was definitely a 2-minute penalty. I think some people were like, oh, there's going to be some player safe. I'm like, no, it's roughing. That's like textbook roughing.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is what roughing is. Like, if he now granted, if Klim Kostin takes him with the glove and then starts, going down and hammering on the guy with his glove on, then I think there'd be a problem. But like a
Yeah.
single swipe with the glove, that shit happens all the time. It was just that the hammering goes in a perfect spot to
Dude, to
see it.
on the button, man.
Right. Like just great.
And for anybody who didn't
Just
see it, I mean, check out Teal Town Twitter. But yeah, just nailed him on the button. I mean, I'm not saying Vatrano isn't like a stand-up guy, but boy, man, that brush, it was weird how quickly his legs fell out from under him. But to me, I just like the thing of Klim Kostin just kind of announcing this early, like, go after one of the new guys. I dare you.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah,
like,
and that's what you have to have, right? And I do think the Sharks are a little overcompensating though, because that bottom six is wacko to me, right? Like, I want to talk about
find
Daniel
the
Gushchin for a
identity,
sec.
dude. Find the
Yeah, I
identity
get
for
that.
me. It's
I
like a
get it.
game of Sudoku.
But like Daniel Gushchin, right? Like he obviously gets sad after he takes the penalty, and the penalty was really bad. But you'd think without Macklin Celebrini, and this should open up a spot for him to be in a top six role where he should be. Like in the first game, they put him on the fourth line. They had to give him a spot. I mean, he earned it through training camp, through rookie. Like you had to give him a spot, right? But unfortunately, when you looked at the top six in game one, there was no room at the end. But game two with Macklin Celebrini, you could figure you could probably put him in, and then you bring Grundstrom in instead. I don't know. Like there's still like, again, I don't want to get like too crazy about anything right now because it's 2 games in. But I have questions, right? Like I have questions.
Well, I mean, no team has it going from game one.
No. And I think with being Warsofsky being a new coach, obviously some things are going to take some time to sort themselves out. It was just weird to me that you put Gushchin in on the fourth line, and then when you have a chance to put him in where he would actually succeed, and granted they did give him power play time in game one, so that did kind of offset the fact he was on the fourth line, but I just felt like it was a wasted opportunity. And for what? Like, yeah, it was a bad penalty, but like, again, you kind of have to have the puck. Like if you want to say, well, that was the turning point of the game, I guess you could hold him accountable like that. But I don't know. I feel like with Celebrini out, a guy with a little more scoring punch than a Grundstrom and Gushchin should have been in the lineup.
Well, and here's the other thing is I remember when they were, when Quinn, just before Quinn ended up, what the hell was that?
Oh, probably just traffic outside my house.
Oh, it was and I'm like, Jesus.
Yeah.
But when just before Quinn was named and Warsofsky was one of the names being bandied about, I was like Team Warsofsky. I'm like, yes, that needs to be the next head coach. And they went with Quinn, and I went, okay, fine, do your deal. And then when, Quinn was out, Warsofsky was not the guy that I wanted. I'm trying to remember who the other cat was. There was another one that was available.
Marco Sturm.
But I feel like there was one other one that, I don't know.
Jay Woodcroft?
No, not Woodcroft. Woodcroft, to me, that was the guy that I wanted him to, like, I wanted to give him the keys to the castle for the Barracuda.
Sure.
Maybe it was Sturm. I don't know. It's just kind of, I don't know. And so far after a couple games and the way, talking about how you just described that, basically how, like, it seems like a real short leash real early, like you got to afford guys can't be afraid to make mistakes. So, it's like Gushchin makes that, a brain fart. The next game he's on the bench.
He's in the press box. Forget the bench.
Okay. I mean, that's what I meant. Yeah, it's like he's not even on the ice, and those are the ones where I sit there and go, was it really that egregious? But then again, maybe it's also like, okay, we feel like we got some bigger boys, so we want to get, Klim in there just in case.
Yeah, I get it, right? Like I get that that they want to have guys in there that can protect people, and they want to, they want to be a tougher team to play against. And I get that. I completely respect that. I just think that, are we going to completely forego offense for that?
Yeah, it's going to be, that's one thing to jot down on your scorecards, everybody. how long is Gushkin with the Sharks? But I digress. Going back, dude, really like Wallman's game so far. Clearly a
Yep.
standout on defense. Special teams are a positive so far. Dash for it, even strength, though. I mean, clearly a problem from the last couple of seasons. So something that they're going to have to focus on. Again, this whole we need to learn how to win. I'm sorry. I'm tired of hearing that for the last 3 years.
It'd be nice if they learned how to win at a lower level of hockey that was also in the organization.
Thank you. Absolutely.
If only there was a place for that. I don't know. I think they
No.
call it the AHL. I don't. The fuck do I know that?
Let's just go a little bit on the experience of the games for the last couple of days. Again, like I'm not here, like I'm not trying to like pick apart shit for the sake of picking apart things. I speaking from a fan perspective. I mean, I don't know how much carte blanche the DJ has when it comes to playing music at the tank. But can we loosen the collar a little bit? I'm getting a little sick of hearing the same songs at the same times. Like I can set my watch to this shit at this point. So I hope that we can like open that up. But one thing I definitely want to talk about. Let's throw up the graphic here, dude. This score strip. Holy fuck! Who said this was a good fucking idea? I mean,
Yeah.
Anaheim, like that's not even What color is that? That's not orange. It looks like Vegas gold,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah,
then
yeah,
like,
yeah.
how is the background for the Sharks not teal with white letters? Like, what the fuck are we even doing here? Like, I don't even understand how this new score strip became a thing. Like,
Yeah, I was surprised because usually I don't get the Sharks feed. So I was like, oh, I get the Sharks feed, and then I look at it, I'm like, what is that?
dude. Yeah,
Yeah, I
again,
don't
I'm
know
like,
what's
that's
going on.
Vegas. I can't wait to see what color the next time the Sharks play Vegas. Like, what
Orange.
color are you going to go? Yeah, it's probably orange,
clearly.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Ugh.
Green for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
But yeah, that's the score bug was just yikes. And wait a minute. Oh yeah, okay. And then the other thing that got me, like, look, I get it. You're coming in. You got some big boy shoes to fill. This is your thing. I'm not here to like pick on that new guy, but an opening jitters are to be expected. But dude,
Sure.
if the PR statements are going to proclaim that you're like grew up a fan from day one, but how the fuck are you going to pronounce Barclay Goodrow incorrectly?
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I didn't even hear that.
Yeah, it was. What did he say? It was something like Barclay. Like we all pretty much know. Like it's not unlike Johnny Goodrow.
Mhm.
Like Barclay Goodrow, but it was like Barclay Goodrow, and I'm like, what? I'm like,
Yeah,
man, that
yeah.
accent shifted somewhere. But I like the way he pronounced Granlund, the way he pronounced,
Don't you know that Barclay Goodrow scored one of the most important goals in Sims?
hey, if you haven't been able to get a wank yet, I'm just saying. But Klim Kostin, it was just like, oh my god. And again, like I understand, dude was thrust into this position, but for me, I think he should have started out like Brody. Like maybe you're the bench guy for a little bit. Maybe you're the guy that we throw to from time to time, like the way that they threw to Tara Sloan.
Sure.
But
I don't know, man. Like to
dude, the
me,
ads and the bumpers that they did were so forced and unnatural. And if you
yeah.
look on social media, dude, this guy's own aunt was like, I really miss Brody. I'm like, God damn.
I think that's the other thing too. Like just all the like, how long until we get to the point where like just the playing surface is not ads, and even the playing surface has digital ads on it. Like,
Fucking A.
God. Just
Eh,
on the topic of ads, not to derail your thought there, but on the topic of ads, like now we've got like ads like halfway out on the boards now. It's like, come on.
Yeah. But I mean, like, look, everybody goes through it, like you
Mhm.
have to get in your reps. And again, don't know why Brody was shown the door. Don't agree with it. But the guy was clearly the guy that they brought in to replace Brody, clearly feeling the jitters. There was a lot of like,
Yeah.
uh,
Big shoes to fill, man.
yeah, and
Like
that's what I'm
like
saying.
look at, like I appreciate like a lot of like I think that I feel like the thing with intermission now is like intermissions used to be cool because like that's when you used to learn things.
Yes.
But now that Twitter's a thing, like intermission's completely useless. Now it's just fucking state propaganda.
Yeah, it feels like a promotional tool.
Yeah, like it's just I think it's like one of the most useless things. So I don't generally really tune in, so I can't speak to the things that you're saying. I believe you. But like usually by the time like intermission, it's like mute Twitter.
Yeah.
Right?
So yeah, we'll see. I'll check in again on dude when we're quarter way in, halfway in, But dude, it was like, oh man, the jitters, we could all feel them. So the other thing I wanted to point out, and again, it's not me just like saying, hey, let me find things to rip on the team for or whatever like that. That's not what I'm hearing. I'm just like saying my eyes work and I'm sharing what I see. And versus what happened to me. I had like 3 different people try to give me tickets, not sell me, give me tickets to the Saturday game. And I had shit going on last night before the game. So I'm like,
Sure.
I'm not going to be able to make it. But the fact that it was a Saturday night, big giveaway with the little lowrider Hot Wheel thing. But anytime they do a Saturday night giveaway, it's almost a guaranteed sellout. And last night it wasn't. And I think that speaks volumes. Specialty night where they had the jersey, the Los Tiburones jersey, and they still didn't sell out. To me, it's like, man, this really speaks to the work that needs to be done to get the fans back. And higher prices ain't it.
Yeah, it's hard, right? Because I think like you want to get into a situation. You don't want to get into a situation like the Florida Panthers were in, right? Before their current ownership took over, and Tampa Bay to a certain extent. Like you can get hockey tickets with a tank of gas.
Yep.
Right. And then when that happens, like obviously your tickets kind of lose all value. So I know I can understand the Sharks. Obviously, they don't want to like completely like go too crazy with like giveaways and stuff to try and fill the barn, because you don't want to devalue those tickets. Because once the people that are keeping you afloat, your season ticket holders and stuff, start jumping ship, then it's hard to get those people back on board, right? Because they're like, well, I'm paying for season tickets. This guy got a tank of gas and
Right?
on a Tuesday, and now he has better seats than I do. What's going on here? So it's a really hard juggling act, right? But I do agree. I think like the price of just sports in general and like concessions and everything, it's gotten out of hand.
Yeah. To address Sleepy Mofo's comment, is saying we can miss Brody without dissing the other guy. It's not me dissing him. It's just me again using my eyes and going, oh, he's clearly very nervous, and he has every right to be. Big shoes to fill. So, like I said, let's look 20 games in and 40 games in, 60 games in. Let's see how he progresses and does things right. But again, huge shoes to fill. Hope he's able to make the most of it. But
for sure,
I still go back and I go, why did they get rid of Brody? Makes you wonder. Like you get what you pay for. Man, but geez, these higher prices. I don't know. Anything jump out for you for week 1 of the NHL? I mean, it's kind of a truncated week. The thing, if you just go on NHL.com, you're like, wait a minute, the league leader in goals is playing for Utah?
Yeah.
And they're undefeated?
Yeah, Utah, like I think the thing that people have to remember though too with Utah is like Utah was in the hunt last year. And then the relocation stuff really kicked into high gear, and obviously the season fell apart. But they were in the mix right up until it became pretty obvious that this team was going to relocate to Utah. And then obviously the bottom fell out. So to me, I think Utah being good doesn't surprise me too much because I think that they made a lot of smart moves this summer, and I think that they might do they make the playoffs when it's all said and done? I'm not sure, but I think they're going to be a ton of fun to watch because there's a lot of really fun players on that team.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that stood out to me is goalies finally getting paid what they're worth.
Dude, and who was it that held out? Shesterkin, Sorokin?
No, well, Shesterkin's still getting a new deal, but it was Jeremy Swayman in Boston who
That's who it was. Yeah,
who sat out, and then finally he got his, I think it was 8.25, and then Linus Ullmark in Ottawa just got a shorter deal, but for the same amount.
dude, goalies getting the bag.
Well, I think they should, right? Because I think
well, hold on. I mean, dude, the Sharks lost Nabby because they wouldn't give him the bag. And there was that run of like, oh, no, we can get goalies on the cheap. Now, granted, it's 15 years ago.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, yeah, like goalies are coming back in vogue for getting the bag.
I think, and some of them deserve it too, right? Like, you look at Linus Ullmark, he's a guy who's won a Vezina, had really good numbers. Jeremy Swayman, I think, is going to be a really good goalie. And Jeremy Swayman's a guy who I think should have taken a bridge deal and then really cleaned him out.
Yep.
After he does what I think he's going to prove, in that he is an NHL starter. I think it's good because I look at a team like Colorado, right, who very much was like, oh, we could just stick another goalie behind this team and it won't matter. So they get rid of Philip Grubauer. They don't re-sign him, and they bring in Georgiev. And right now, like, not that I think like this team is going to be screwed, right? Like, I don't think this Colorado team is never going to win another cup again, because I don't think Georgiev deals that long. But you look at it and you're wasting years of prime Nate McKinnon, prime Cale Makar, prime Mikko Rantanen. Like, you're wasting years on just awful goaltending. And like, goaltending was absolutely their undoing in the playoffs last year. Like, this team, I'm not saying Philip Grubauer is the best goalie ever, but he was the goalie that got you the cup.
Mm-hmm. Saying it.
I don't know, man.
Is there anything else that's jumped out at you for the first week? Like any surprises? You're just kind of like, all right, didn't have that on my bingo card. That's kind of
no. I think like you. I think I didn't expect Utah to come out to like the rip roaring start that they've gotten off to. I think the Blues have kind of surprised me because not only did they
because they've won.
Well, yeah, because I think this is a team that I thought wasn't going to be very good, and it's not just that they've won; it's how they've won.
All right,
they've come back. They came back. Like, the two games they won were both big comeback wins where they overcame a goal deficit. Now, against the Sharks, maybe not a super accomplishment, but I still think it was something that I didn't really have. Like, I thought they were going to win. They were going to win games, of course, but I didn't think they were going to win games like that.
What are you looking for from say like Mitch Marner?
Oh, that's going to be fascinating to see how that plays out, because I mean, it's hard because I think like
Talk
those
about
players,
wanting a bag.
yeah, I mean, he's going to want a bag, and I think he's good for it. I don't know what is broken in Toronto, because you look at the guys that they have, and they're all really good players, like in their own right. Like, I don't think there's anyone in the league that would turn down Austin Matthews for nothing.
All right, just saying.
Right? I don't think there's a team in the league that would turn down William Nylander for nothing. I don't think there's a team that would turn down Mitch Marner for nothing. But for some reason, the combination of them, they just can't seem to break through. And I don't know, man.
That's going to be just a fascinating watch, only because how many times have we said, yeah, Utah's out to a great start, but how does that impact the Maple Leafs?
It's true. That is the all important question.
Always. If you remember, if you're a longtime watcher of the Pucknologists, we used to do that hero and zero thing and tweet of the week and blah, blah, blah. Kind of decided to blow that off this season. If you guys really want it back,
if you need heroes and zeros, I will do them. You just got to say yes.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. If you really want those back, do me a favor, put it in the comment section below on our YouTube channel here for this video. If we see a decent amount of people going, oh, come on, we need that hero zero thing, we need that tweet of the week thing, all right, we'll bring it back. But unless, we need to hear especially in election year. We need to hear that the people have spoken. So, you know,
And that's the only thing I want to hear about this election, by the way.
yes, absolutely. So for that, there's actually another team that we get to talk about for a hot minute. So let's go.
Ooh, Barracuda.
Dude, look, tell me I'm wrong. At some point, Askorov, somebody's going to fucking run this guy because of his attitude. Like, I
Yeah.
appreciate, dude, getting the 5-0 shutty and turning around, just grabbing the net and like being, okay, the window was open. It is now closed. And I'm like, okay, like props for the creativity. But to me, I just go, somebody is going to take offense and they're going to run you.
Yeah. I mean, but you know, he's a big dude. I wouldn't want to run that guy. He's huge.
He can be huge, but there's going to be some, McGillicuddy in the NHL when he makes the jump that is going to go, fuck that. There's going to be a Patrick Maroon
I think
or a Sean Avery that doesn't give a fuck.
I see what you're saying there. Yeah, I do wonder how well some of his antics would go over in the NHL.
Exactly.
In the AHL though, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, in the A, I'm fine, but I'm just saying, there's going to be, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Major League, the baseball movie, where the guy makes the hot shot basket catch, and then when he comes back into the dugout, the manager looks at him and goes, "Great catch. Don't ever fucking do it again." Like I could see it. It's like, hey, that was really creative. Don't ever fucking do that again. So,
so Burge asking, what did he do? I don't know if you have the clip, but he basically just after the game was over, he basically just put the net down.
He literally just reached his arm behind him, grabbed the top of the net, and pulled it down. So flipped the net horizontally. Basically, like this net was open and it is now closed.
It is now closed. Game over. The net is now closed.
Yeah.
You got no goals. See you next time.
But it's like, Chief did throw up a shutout. So it is kind of a, it's a mic drop. It's a bat flip. I was
hoping we were going to get the benching of the net, but I mean, game one, maybe a little early.
But it's, it's just like a bat flip. It's, it's showing up the other team. Yeah. And in the minor leagues, in certain situations, that might be all fun and games and might, oh, ha ha, chuckle. I'm just saying there's going to be an instance, I think, where like, look, to me, seeing Askorov do that in the 8th, that's all well and good. If Binnington had done that for the Blues, the internet would have closed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Twitter would have been over for 24 hours.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I don't want bitch Binnington on my team. And that Askorov move to me is like Binnington territory. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, I'm like, dude, just put up the bomb fucking numbers. You didn't see Brodeur and Hasek and Waugh doing that type of shenanigans.
I mean, Waugh could be a motherfucker though.
Oh, absolutely he could.
He would definitely like he maybe not like obviously showing, but there's clips of Patrick Waugh just like absolutely stoning people and then winking at them.
Yeah.
Then you put a microphone in front of Patrick Waugh's face, and that was a completely different answer.
What was the Ronick thing? Oh, I can't hear Jeremy. I got his
Jeremy
Stanley Cup rings in my ear. So anyway, Barracuda off to a phenomenal fucking start, at least for game one. Anthony Vincent would score the very first goal for the Barracuda in this season. The opener versus the Reign yesterday ended up, again, being a 5-0 rout over the Ontario squad led by former Shark, previously mentioned Marco Sturm. An absolute perfect PK. Haltonen with 2 goals. Beasted and it's Podorowski,
yeah.
All right. Both having 2 helpers. And again, Askorov with the 22 save shutout, the net drop. So just a bit better start to the season than last year for the Barracuda. And then Askorov gets named 3rd star of the night in the NHL. Today, little different. Started off well, didn't end as well as we would have hoped. Romanov getting the start in this one.
Yeah.
And the Cuda would end up shitting the bed by giving up 2 goals in the final minute 15 of this. But Tristan Robbins with a goal and an assist, Beasted and Robbins with points in back-to-back games.
Yep. Yeah, and look at, and also like they're pointing out that the penalty kill is really good. But so here's the thing: the things that, like, obviously, the Barracuda beat Ontario, which they never did at any point last year. Obviously, a good thing. I like that guys like Kasper Haltnen have kind of, he looked like they've kind of settled into their role. I think that there were some questions about whether he should be on the Barracuda or if he should go back and play in London. And I think he's showing that he definitely belongs in the American Hockey League, at least so far. Askarov,
Ontario, not the UK.
Yes. You obviously, Askorov coming in and being everything that he was advertised to be is a big plus, because again, that are a little still kind of like, why is this still happening? The Sharks, the Barracuda, they gave up 12 power play opportunities in the last 2 games. It's a lot of fucking power plays to give up, right? Like, it's still a lot of and some of these penalties are really fucking dumb.
That's and again, that's one of those things that makes me look at Johnny Mac behind the bench going, this trend continues. Like, if anything, I feel like Johnny Mac might be having to buy Askarov a Rolly if he keeps his job. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's certain things that aren't good, right? And I think a player who's probably not going to get a lot of talk right now, but I think will as the season progresses, is Philip Beasted. Maybe not putting up the flashy goals like a Colin Graff has put up in the last 2 games, but he's just, I've liked his play, like his just overall play. It's a quiet but steady game. I think he's got a couple of helpers. I think he's got maybe 3 helpers now on the season so far, and just really solid play. And I think he's a guy who maybe he's not going to wow you with his flashiness, but I just think his steadiness for a guy who's getting his first real taste, because I mean, he had a couple games last year, but like this year, obviously he's here to stay. So getting his first real full season of North American hockey, and so far I really, really liked his game. I don't think it's like I said, it's not maybe the sexiest game, but I think it's going to be a big boost to the Barracuda going forward.
Yeah, points in 2 straight seems to be a quick study. So I'm going to have a lot of fun checking him out. Another thing that should be noted, it was announced either earlier today, earlier this week, just like last season, the Barracuda will have 3 games televised on NBCSN California. February 1st against the Henderson Silver Knights, February 7th against the Roadrunners from Tucson, and March 23rd against the Condors from Bakersfield. So at least 3. I'm gonna, look, I think it's great that they're getting another couple of games on, it's going to be televised and everything like that. But I kind of sit there and go, come on, NBCSN California, you can do better. There's a lot of fucking Friday and nights, Sunday afternoons. You don't need to show a replay of a dog show from 2 years ago. You could put on, an AHL hockey game. So anyway, make sure you follow Teal Town USA, Ian, of course, and Sharks Jewels on the Twitter for live tweets, and maybe some occasional gifts and everything like that. But during most Barracuda games, they're going to give you their takes on what is happening with the baby Sharks. Coming up this week for the Sharks, we're going to see them go on the first road trip of the season. A quick 3-gamer makes a decent amount of sense travel-wise, where it's like, okay, we're going to go to Dallas, and we're going to go straight up to Chicago, then a little further up to Winnipeg, before playing at home again next Sunday versus the Avalanche. Remember to check out After Dark following every one of those Sharks games. We, as in me and Ian, will be back with you following Sharks versus Colorado next Sunday, the first Pucknologists takeover of the season. And thankfully, to be quite honest, I want to send some sort of edible gift basket to the schedulers, because there's only like 4 takeovers this season. So that's like,
It's a
thank
nice,
you.
yeah, it's a nice boost.
Yeah, especially after the last couple seasons. So that's how this week is going to roll out and I know I owe somebody. I have to do some digging into the DMs over the course of the summer. I know we gave out some towels from the prospect scrimmage. We gave out some Hawaiian shirts, but I know there was one guy who we didn't come through on. Do me a favor. I'm going to go through. I'm going to search the DMs. I'm going to find out who you are. But if you just happen to be around or anything like that, and you could be like, "Hey, that was me, fucker," like hit us up on the Twitter, the Teal Town DM. I have some stuff. So the Sharks did a meet and greet thing last week, and so ended up with, as you can see, a stack of these new Sharks territory signs for this season. And this one, I don't know if you can tell, has actually been signed by William Eklund. So we got that one right. Nya. This one signed by Will Smith, right? Nya. And then I know it's in here somewhere. Well, here's one from Bordelot. And I know I got Wallman in here somewhere because I was like, fuck yeah, that guy rocks.
I have to show you this. I got to show you something cool before we get out too.
Yeah, here's a Gushkin, however you want to pronounce it. Either way, we have some signed signs, and maybe autograph signs is the better way to put that. But we're going to be handing out a couple of these over the course of the Pucknologists season, along with the Sharks Hawaiian shirt, because they say it's always sunny in Philadelphia. Well, it's always summer in California. So we got to do the Hawaiian shirt thing. So we'll be starting that off next weekend. Just wanted to let you know on that, but we will be flying that out for you. What do you got to show?
I found this at work.
Holy shit.
Like, I had a much bigger poster of this in my room, which was on the other side of this wall, actually, when I was growing up. When
Hold on, this is still sealed?
Yeah, I don't know if it's sealed or if they just wrapped it when they got it to keep it safe. But, like, yeah, I picked it up at work. I saw it. I was like, oh, that's mine.
Dude. Solid, dude. Like, I remember that in the very early 90s. That was
one
of
the
very first posters.
Poster, like, it was one of the very first posters that came out. I had a much bigger version of this poster on my wall as a 12-year-old child, and here I am today.
Hey, now. And, the other thing is I'm planning on going to the CUDA opener next weekend.
Sick.
The giveaway is a hat. I'm not a big hat tchotchke guy, so I'll probably save that to me. And the guy that I'm going with, same. So we'll probably save both of those for some sort of a giveaway. So there you go. Let's see. Before we get out of here, the thing that I love to get into from time to time is the numbers right now. Goals for the Sharks over 2 games. Goals for 4, 2 of them at even strength, 1 power play, 1 shorty, courtesy of Goodrow. But the current goal differential is -3. And all that the Sharks have given up so far, all even strength. I'm sorry, no, not all. There was the 1 empty netter. But,
yeah,
dude, this was a problem last season. Right now, the Sharks are averaging, 2 games, small sample size, but 3.5 goals per game. Clearly they need to get that, push that number down in a huge way. And the other thing that I tracked a lot of last season was, scoring first or having the lead at some point during the game. And then did that translate to a win? And so far, no. You scored first or you had the lead. Nope. Lost that game where that happened. And right now, goals for by period, they're winning the first period 2-1, winning the second period 2-0, losing the third period 5-0. Let's work on that third period, boys. Just saying. So
rough week coming up for them.
I mean, look, Dallas, some people, I don't want to say many people, but some people saying Dallas is my pick to win the cup. Going to be a tough game. Then you get, at Chicago, which, of course, all the national media who were all like, Celebrini versus Bedard. Oh, he's on IR? Fuck.
Yeah.
They all like, God damn it. And so now that game doesn't have as much sauce on the taco that it should have. But either way, could be a fun game. Then at Winnipeg, another team that is projected to do, a little better.
Yeah, I mean, they're on a tear right now. They have been very, very good so far. 3 wins, no losses, no tiebreakers, or no overtime losses rather. Outscoring their opponents by 8 so far. So I mean, definitely that. I don't think that's gonna be a fun night.
Well, and the Sharks really aren't done any favors to open this October, because it's okay. You get the 2 quickies at home, then it's 3 on the road, come back home, and then it's 4 on the road. So it's basically an 8-game road trip almost. Because it's like you're just coming home for the one. You don't have much of a time to unpack the bags before you're back out. So it's almost like 8 straight, and then you get a 5-game homestand. So. Yeah, it's I mean, we remember last season. What was it? 0-10? 0-8-2, something like that. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but yes, that's what's going to happen. No, I'm kidding. And then remember the Colorado game. That was actually supposed to be a 1:00 game. Ended up getting shifted, I'm going to say, because of the NFL. But anyway, all right. We'll be back.
100% why.
Yeah, we'll be back following that Avalanche Sharks game next Sunday. Again, come over here for all the after darks following San Jose Sharks games. And hey, we might, we talked about Brody early on. We might even get Brazil to pop on yet again. If you missed it, he was he joined Eric at Live from the Tank on Thursday, so which was like super duper cool. So. Make sure you hit that up. All right. At Ian Blogs Hockey, I'm at AJ_Strong. Any famous last words or anything that you're kind of looking for? I mean, this week, it's going to be 4 games, so relatively short week because of so much hockey. No Celebrini. I know they say he can come back versus Winnipeg. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I hope. I'm hoping. I hope that's all it is. We don't want Celebrini to be out for any extended period of time. That would be completely,
but not rush
craptastic.
Yeah,
but but there's no reason to rush him back either. It's not like, again, like this is, we know what this team's going to be, and that is not a playoff team. So there's no point rushing back the guy who's going to be the cornerstone of this franchise for years to come. When things finally go around, like Celebrini is going to be at the center of this. He is the centerpiece of this whole rebuild that unfortunately is still ongoing. Yeah. We don't need to fuck that up. Like let him get right and then bring him back in. Like that's it.
Well, and we saw, with Celebrini going to IR, we saw Jack Thompson get like the courtesy call up with Wallman and CC being your top pair, which, to me, I sit there and go, okay, so I feel like the last 2 years that I've been complaining about Ferraro being on the 1-2 line are confirmed, with Wallman and CC there. But when Vlasic is able to come back, and I don't know that it's going to happen over this next week, but it certainly sounds like it's within the next 7 to 10 games, Vlasic is due to return.
Yeah, I don't know who's coming out.
I'm sorry?
I don't know who's coming out.
Well, God damn it, that was the question I was coming to ask you. And we already saw a demotion this week that, Benning was paired with Ferraro in the first game. Then he got bounced down to being paired with Thrun, while Ruda got bounced up with Ferraro. It seems
that wasn't
like
a good pair either.
Yeah, not great, but I mean, I think last year kind of proved it, where Vlasic is your 5-6 pair guy. So I got to say that so far,
Is Henry Thrun going to be on the Barracuda when
I was going
Vancek comes back?
dude, that was the guy that I'm kind of eyeballing. Like
Yeah.
Benning and Thrun to me have not been impressive so far.
Well, I think, and Thrun's the guy that also, like, I don't think Thrun would have to clear waivers either, which is obviously always a consideration you have to
Huge.
take into consideration when you're deciding who's getting demoted and whatnot. Out of all the guys that they could send down, Thrun's the only one that would not have to clear waivers. So, yeah.
Hello. And how long is Thrun here? What's Puckpedia saying?
He has 2 years left on his current deal this year and next.
I'm starting to think that unless we see some significant change, it might
He's only
be
23.
23. I know it takes defensemen a lot longer to marinate, but man, for all the talk that we heard, like, hey, this is going to be an offensive guy that we're going to look at, and hey, and I was just like, he's already playing 5-6 minutes when we were kind of being said like, oh, this is a 2-3 guy. So when Vlasic returns,
it'll be fascinating to see what they do. I mean, the logic says that Thrun's probably going down because he's the only guy that can go down without having to clear waivers, and that stuff, that's definitely a factor that gets played into some of these things. I hope, like, the one thing I do kind of want to see this week is maybe let's take the leash a little. Let's loosen the leash on some of the young guys a little bit, though.
How many games do you think Gushin gets this week out of the 4?
Oh man, I mean, with Celebrini out, he should be in all of them,
right? But
or at least he should.
Celebrini was out, and he didn't even make it in that one.
I know, and that's that. Like, and that's the reality of it. But I feel like in the current situation, like, he should get an opportunity to play himself out of the lineup. And I don't think he did anything in game 1 to super, like, that penalty was not good. Granted, like, I will 100% concede, was not a good penalty to take. Was that enough for him to be just banished to the press box forever? I don't think so. I think he should get more of an opportunity to play himself out of the lineup and, back down to the Barracuda if that's what's going to end up happening.
Okay, somebody get the meme together. Like, it doesn't need to be a Venn diagram, but maybe one of those mathematical problems where it's like LeBanc is to Quinn and Boogie what Gushin is to Warsofsky. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need to see the next Chateau de Bow Wow going that way. Speaking of which,
and again, it's hard. Like, and I don't want to like make and you don't want to make too big of a deal out of it because again, it's only 2 games. But it is something to be that just kind of strikes me as a little bit concerning. Without, like, I don't want to get too over. That's why I'm saying, like, I just want to see the leash loosened a little bit on some of these guys so that they get, because I think that's what they need. They need the opportunity to go out there and fail and figure it out.
How many goals do the Blue Jackets have so far, and were any of them scored by Kevin LeBanc?
I haven't been paying attention to the Jackets.
That's your homework, everybody. All right. So with that, he is at Ian Blogs Hockey. I'm at AJ_Strong. Have a fantastic rest of your Sunday night. We will catch you all next Sunday following Avalanche versus Sharks. Good night, everybody.